The rain fell hard on the streets of Bizen. It was the kind of rain that soaked through clothes in seconds. The kind that made people run for cover and curse the sky. Park Tae-ho did not run. He walked slowly, holding his daughter's small hand in his. His other hand held a broken umbrella that did almost nothing against the storm. "Appa, I am cold," said Yuna. She was 7 years old. Her school bag was wrapped in a plastic bag to keep her books dry. Her shoes made splashing sounds with every step. "I know, little one. We are almost home," Tae-ho said. He tried to sound cheerful, but he was tired. So very tired. Tae-ho was 38 years old. He worked at a construction site 12 hours a day, 6 days a week. His hands were rough and scarred. His back hurt all the time, but he never complained. He had a daughter to feed. He had rent to pay. He had no time for complaints. His wife, Yoonji, had died 3 years ago. She was a nurse. When the big earthquake hit the southern coast, she went to help. She saved 11 people before a building fell on her. The government gave Tae-ho a small medal and a letter of thanks. He would have traded both for one more day with her. Now it was just him and Yuna, father and daughter against the world. They turned into a narrow alley. It was a shortcut to their apartment building. The alley was dark and smelled of garbage. Tae-ho did not like walking here at night, but the rain was too heavy to take the long way. Yuna suddenly stopped walking. "Appa, look," she whispered. Tae-ho looked where she was pointing. Behind a pile of garbage bags, something moved. At first, he thought it was a dog. Stray dogs were common in this part of the city. But then lightning flashed across the sky, and he saw Dot. It was not a dog, Dot. It was a person. No, not a person. Not exactly. The figure had gray-blue skin that seemed to shine in the rain. The arms and legs were too long and too thin. The face had strange dark markings that looked like flowing water. And the eyes. The eyes were large and silver, like 2 small moons. An alien. Tae-ho felt his heart stop. He had seen aliens on the news. 3 years ago, something called the Galactic Transit Network had collapsed. Thousands of alien ships were suddenly stuck near Earth with no way home. The government called them a threat. There were special police units to hunt them down. People who helped aliens went to prison for 10 years or more. His first thought was to grab Yuna and run. But then he looked closer. The alien was lying in the dirty water between garbage bags. It was shaking badly. Its silver eyes were filled with tears. A dark liquid that might have been blood was coming from a wound on its side. It was dying. And it was afraid. "Appa," Yuna said. Her voice was very small. "She is crying." Tae-ho looked at his daughter. Yuna had her mother's eyes. Kind eyes. Eyes that could not look away from someone in pain. "We should go," Tae-ho said. But his feet did not move. The alien made a sound. It was trying to speak. The words were broken and hard to understand, but Tae-ho recognized Korean. Bad Korean, but Korean. "Please," the alien whispered. "Please, not hurt. I not hurt, please." Tae-ho thought about his wife. Yoonji never walked away from someone who needed help, even when it was dangerous, even when it cost her everything. What would she do right now? He already knew the answer. "Yuna, take off your raincoat," he said. "But Appa, I will get wet." "I know. Give it to me." Yuna did not argue. She trusted her father completely. She took off her yellow raincoat and handed it to him. Tae-ho walked slowly toward the alien. The creature tried to move away, but it was too weak. Its silver eyes watched him with fear. "I am not going to hurt you," Tae-ho said softly. He spoke like he was talking to a scared animal. "I am going to help you. Do you understand?" The alien stared at him for a long moment. Then, slowly, It nodded. Taiho put the raincoat over the alien's thin body. Up close, he could see that it was female, or at least looked female. She was young too, maybe the same age as his younger sister. Her gray-blue skin was cold to the touch. The wound on her side looked bad. "Can you stand?" Yes. The alien tried. She got halfway up and then fell. Taiho caught her before she hit the ground. "Okay, I will carry you." She was lighter than he expected. Too light. She had not eaten in a long time. He could feel her bones through her skin. Yuna took his hand again. She looked up at him with those eyes so much like her mother's. "Are we going to help her, Appa?" Taiho looked at the alien in his arms. He looked at his daughter. He thought about prison. He thought about the police. He thought about everything he could lose. Then he thought about Yoonji, about the kind of man she believed he was. "Yes," he said. "We are going to help her." They walked out of the alley and into the rain. A tired construction worker, a 7-year-old girl, and a dying alien wrapped in a yellow raincoat. Somewhere above the clouds, the stars were shining. But Taiho did not look up. He just walked forward, one step at a time, toward home. That night, he made a choice that would change everything. He did not know it yet. He did not know that this small, scared creature would one day command fleets of ships across the galaxy. He did not know that his simple act of kindness would echo through the stars. He only knew that someone needed help. And he could not walk away. That was enough. The alien's name was Vila. It took her 3 days to say that much. She lay on a small mattress in the corner of Taiho's tiny apartment, burning with fever. Yuna sat beside her with wet claws, putting them on her forehead, just like her mother used to do when Yuna was sick. On the 4th day, the fever broke. Vila opened her silver eyes and looked around the small room. She saw the cracks in the ceiling. She saw the old television with the broken antenna. She saw a little girl sleeping in a chair beside her, still holding a wet cloth, and she cried. Taiho found her like that when he came home from work. Tears like liquid silver running down her gray-blue face. "Why?" Vila asked. Her Korean was very bad, but he understood. "Why you help? You not know me. I am nothing." Taiho sat down on the floor beside the mattress. His body ached from carrying bricks all day. He was so tired he could barely think. "My wife used to say that kindness does not need a reason," he said. "You needed help. I can help. That is all." Vela did not understand all the words, but she understood enough. She bowed her head low and said something in her own language. It sounded like a prayer. Over the next few weeks, Vela grew stronger. She ate very little because Taiho did not have much food to share. But she never complained. She seemed amazed by the smallest things. Rice, hot water, a blanket. She touched these things like they were treasures from another world. Slowly, she told him her story. Vila had been a navigator on a cargo ship. When the transit network collapsed, her ship became stuck in space near Earth. The crew waited for rescue. Rescue never came. After a year, they ran out of food. They landed on Earth and scattered. Everyone had to survive alone. For 2 years, Vala lived on the streets. She ate from garbage. She hid in abandoned buildings. She learned Korean from broken tablets that people threw away. She saw terrible things. Other aliens captured by gangs who sold their bodies for parts. Others caught by police and taken to camps that no one ever left. She trusted no one. She believed all humans were cruel. Then she met a man in the rain who proved her wrong. "I give you nothing back," Vela said one night. She looked ashamed. "I have nothing. I am sorry." Taiho looked at his daughter. Yuna was teaching Vela how to fold paper cranes. The alien's long fingers moved carefully, and when she finished one, Yuna clapped and laughed. That laugh. He had not heard that laugh since Yoonji died. You already gave me something, Taiho said quietly. Vela did not hear him. Life became harder. Taiho already struggled to feed 2 people. Now there were 3. He started skipping meals. He told Yuna and Vela that he ate at work, but there was no food at work. His body grew thinner. His strength faded, but he did not complain. He never complained. His coworker Wang Doyun noticed. Doyun was a big man with a loud voice and a kind heart. He and Taiho had worked together for 10 years. You look like a ghost, Doyun said one day. What is wrong? Are you sick? Taiho could not tell him the truth. Doyun was a good man, but he had a big mouth. Secrets did not stay secret around him. I am fine, Taiho said. Just tired. Doyun did not believe him. But he did not push. He just started bringing extra food to work. He said his wife made too much. Taiho knew it was a lie, but he accepted the food anyway. Pride was a thing he could not afford anymore. One night in autumn, Taiho came home to find Vela cooking. The apartment smelled strange. On the stove was a pot of something gray and lumpy. I make food, Vela said proudly. To thank you. Earth recipe. Yuna was sitting at the table with a worried face. She had already tried it. Taeho looked at the gray lump in the pot. He looked at Vela's hopeful silver eyes. He took a spoon and ate a bite. It was the worst thing he had ever tasted. It burned his mouth and made his eyes water. He was pretty sure food was not supposed to fight back, but he smiled. Very good, he said. Thank you. Vela's whole face lit up. That night, Taiho quietly threw the gray lump away and made instant noodles for everyone. But he kept that moment in his heart. The moment when an alien tried to cook Korean food to say thank you. It was terrible and perfect. Months passed. Vela learned to speak better Korean. She stopped trying to cook. She helped in other ways. She fixed the broken television with wire and strange alien knowledge. She taught Yuna mathematics that were so advanced, the girl just stared with confused eyes. She told stories about the stars and the worlds beyond the sky. Yuna loved her like an older sister. Taiho found himself talking to Vila late at night after Yuna fell asleep. He told her about Yoonji, about how they met in high school, about how she laughed at his terrible jokes, about how empty the world felt without her. Vila listened. She did not try to fix his sadness. She just listened. That was enough. Then one winter night, everything changed. Taeho woke to the sound of sirens. Red and blue lights flashed through his window. He ran to the living room and saw police vehicles surrounding the building next door. Stay here, he told Vela. She was already hiding in the closet. He watched from the window as government agents broke down doors. They were looking for aliens. Someone had reported seeing one in the area. The agents dragged out a family from the 3rd floor. A male alien with green skin, a female alien, and 2 children, small and crying and reaching for their parents. The agents pushed them into a van. The doors closed. The screams continued. The van drove away into the night. Taeho stood at the window for a long time. His hands were shaking. That could have been Vela. That could have been their door broken down. That could have been Yuna watching agents drag away someone she loved. The next day, he built a hidden space behind the closet. It took him 3 weeks working late at night. He cut through the wall and made a small room behind it, just big enough for one person to hide. If anyone comes, he told Vela, you go inside and do not make a sound. No matter what. Understand? Vela nodded. Her silver eyes were wet. Why do you do this? She asked. If they find me, you lose everything. Your job, your freedom, your daughter. Taiho thought about it for a moment. Because my wife taught me that being human means protecting people who cannot protect themselves, he said. Even when it is hard. Even when it is dangerous. Especially then. Vila said nothing. She just bowed her head low again and whispered that prayer in her own language. They did not know that time was running out. They did not know that Vila's past was catching up to her. They did not know that soon she would have to make a choice of her own, a choice to leave everything behind. The morning Vela left was the coldest of the year. Taiho woke up late because it was Sunday. He walked to the kitchen to make breakfast. But something felt wrong. The apartment was too quiet. He found the note on the kitchen table. The handwriting was shaky. The Korean letters shaped with care, but still uneven. Dear Taiho and Yuna, they are looking for me. Not the police. My own people. I do not understand why, but they are coming. If they find me here, they will hurt you. I cannot let that happen. You saved my life. You showed me humans can be kind. I will never forget. I will find a way to repay you. I promise. Be happy. Be safe. Your friend always, Vela. Taiho read the note 3 times. His hands were shaking. Yuna came out of her room rubbing her eyes. She saw her father's face. She saw the note. She ran to Vela's mattress in the corner. It was empty. The yellow raincoat that Vela always kept was gone too. Where is she? Yuna asked. Her voice was very small. Appa, where did she go? Taiho could not answer. He just held his daughter as she cried. Yuna cried for weeks. She stopped eating. She stopped talking. She sat by the window every night, watching the sky, waiting for Vela to come back. Vela never came back. Years passed. Yuna grew older. The crying stopped, but the waiting never did. Even as a teenager, she would sometimes look up at the stars with those quiet, searching eyes. She chose to study xenobiology in university. When Taiho asked why, she said she wanted to understand aliens better. She wanted to help them like her father had helped Vila. But Taiho knew the truth. She was still looking for Vila, still hoping to find her somehow. The world changed around them. 5 years after Vela left, everything was different. The Earth made contact with the Galactic Confederation. It turned out that many alien civilizations existed out there. Thousands of them. Earth was invited to join as a new member. Suddenly, aliens were not enemies anymore. They walked the streets openly. They worked jobs. They ate in restaurants. The same government that once hunted them now welcomed them. Taiho watched the news and felt bitter. All those aliens dragged away in the night. All those families torn apart. All that fear and hate. And now everyone acted like it never happened, but he said nothing. He was too tired to be angry. Taiho was 53 years old now. His body had finally given up on him. 30 years of construction work had destroyed his lungs. The doctors called it pulmonary fibrosis. Fancy words for lungs that could not breathe anymore. There's treatment, the doctor said. We can slow it down. But a cure exists only in galactic medicine. It is very expensive. Very restricted. How expensive? Taiho asked. 80 million won. Taiho almost laughed. He made 2 million won a month when he was working. And he had not worked in 6 months. He had maybe 300,000 won in his bank account. 80 million might as well be 80 billion. He did not tell Yuna about the cure. What was the point? He just told her the doctors were helping him. He told her not to worry. But Yuna was 22 now. She was not a child anymore. She knew when her father was lying. She found out about the galactic cure from her professor. She calculated the cost. She looked at her bank account with its tiny savings from part-time jobs. She applied for loans she knew she could not get. She wrote letters to hospitals and charities and government programs. Every answer was the same. No, sorry. We cannot help. One night, she sat beside her father's hospital bed. The machine next to him beeped steadily. His breathing was slow and rough, like paper tearing. I am sorry, Yuna, Taiho said. His voice was barely a whisper. I could not give you more. I tried. I really tried. Yuna held his hand. It was thin and cold. The hands that had carried her through the rain. The hands that had built a secret room to protect a stranger. The hands that had worked until they bled so she could go to school. You gave me everything, Appa, she said. Tears ran down her face. You gave me everything that matters. Taiho smiled weakly. He looked out the window at the night sky. Somewhere up there, beyond the clouds and the atmosphere and the darkness, Vila was out there. He hoped she was safe. He hoped she was happy. He hoped she had found her way home. He did not hope for a miracle. He was too old and too tired for miracles. But miracles do not care about age or tiredness. The next morning, a nurse rushed into the room. Her face was pale with shock. Mr. Park, she said, there is something you need to see. Yuna wheeled her father to the window. Outside, people were pointing at the sky. Cars had stopped in the middle of the road. Everyone was looking up. A ship was descending through the clouds. But not just any ship. It was huge. It was beautiful. It was like nothing Earth had ever seen. Silver and white, with lines that looked like flowing water. Behind it came more ships. 10, 20, 50. They filled the sky like a second set of stars. And on every ship, the same symbol glowed. A mark that looked like two moons circling each other. What is that? Yuna whispered. I do not know, Taiho said. But somewhere deep in his heart, in a place he had almost forgotten existed, hope began to wake up. The news channels went crazy. Reporters talked over each other. Governments issued statements. No one knew what was happening. Then a message came from the largest ship. It was broadcast on every channel, every screen, every device on Earth. A simple request in perfect Korean. We wish to meet with Park Taiho. We mean no harm. We only wish to repay a debt. Yuna looked at her father. Taiho looked at the sky. And for the first time in 15 years, he let himself remember a rainy night, a dark alley, and a dying alien wrapped in a yellow raincoat. Vila, he whispered. The miracle had come. The hospital rooftop had been cleared. Soldiers stood in neat lines around the edges. Government officials whispered to each other with nervous faces. News drones flew overhead, broadcasting everything to billions of people. Yuna pushed her father's wheelchair out of the elevator. The wind was cold, but Taiho did not feel it. His eyes were fixed on the sky. A small shuttle was coming down. It moved smoothly, without sound, and landed gently on the rooftop. The door opened and light poured out. A figure stepped out. Yuna did not recognize her at first. The alien wore a uniform of silver and black. Metals covered her chest. Her gray-blue skin seemed to glow in the morning light. She stood tall and straight, with the posture of someone who commanded armies. But then Yuna saw the eyes. Those large silver eyes, like two small moons. Vala, she whispered. The alien walked forward. Government officials tried to greet her, but she walked past them like they did not exist. Soldiers stepped aside. Everyone watched in silence. Vila stopped in front of Taiho's wheelchair. For a moment, she just looked at him. At the thin face, the tired eyes, the body broken by years of hard work, and she knelt down on both knees. A High Admiral of the Galactic Confederation, commander of 200 warships, kneeling on a hospital rooftop in Bizen. Hello, my friend, Vala said. Her Korean was perfect now. I told you I would find a way to repay you. Taiho stared at her. His mouth opened, but no words came out. Tears started falling down his old weathered face. "You came back," he finally said. "You really came back." "I promised," Vala said simply. Una stepped forward. Her legs were shaking. This powerful alien who commanded fleets and wore medals was the same person who once burned gray soup in their kitchen. The same person who taught her to fold paper cranes. The same person she had cried for every night for months. "Hello, little star," Vala said, turning to her. "You grew up beautiful, just like your mother." Una broke down. She fell to her knees and hugged Vala, crying into her silver uniform. Vala held her gently, just like she used to hold her when she was 7 years old. "I looked for you," Una sobbed. "I looked everywhere. I studied xenobiology because I wanted to find you." "I know," Vala said softly. "I watched from far away. I saw everything. I am so proud of you." They stayed like that for a long moment. An alien high admiral and a human girl, holding each other on a rooftop while the world watched. Then Vala stood up. Her face became serious. "There is much to explain," she said, "and not much time. The doctors I brought need to begin treatment immediately." "Doctors?" Taiho asked. Vala gestured toward the shuttle. More aliens stepped out. They wore white clothes and carried strange equipment that glowed with soft blue light. "The best physicians in the Confederation," Vala said. "They can cure your lungs completely. Not just treat them. Cure them. You will breathe freely again." "But the cost," Una said. "We cannot pay for this." Vala looked at her with gentle eyes. "There's no cost. This is a debt being repaid. 15 years ago, your father spent his last money to feed a stranger. He risked prison to protect someone his government called an enemy. He gave everything he had to someone who could give nothing back." She turned to Taiho. "Did you think I would forget? Did you think I would let you die?" Taiho could not speak. He just shook his head slowly. The doctors surrounded him and began their work. Strange lights scanned his body. Gentle hands placed devices on his chest. Taiho felt warmth spreading through his lungs, like sunlight filling a dark room dot while the doctors worked. Vala told her story. After she left the apartment that cold morning, she did not get far. Agents found her within a day. But they were not human agents. They were aliens from her homeworld, because Vala had lied. She was not just a navigator on a cargo ship. She was Vala of House Tarn, daughter of one of the most powerful families in the Confederation. When the transit network collapsed, her family searched the entire galaxy for her. "I ran away from home when I was young," Vala explained. "I hated my family's wealth and power. I wanted to live a simple life. I wanted to see the universe with my own eyes. So I took a false name and joined a cargo ship." She smiled sadly. "I did not expect to end up starving in an alley on a strange planet." When she returned home, everything she ran away from was waiting for her. The wealth, the expectations, the political games. She could have lived in comfort forever, but she could not forget. She could not forget a tired man carrying her through the rain. She could not forget a little girl with kind eyes. She could not forget what it felt like to be truly helpless and what it meant when someone chose to help anyway. "So I joined the military," Vala said. "I started at the lowest rank. I refused to use my family's name or influence. I wanted to earn power the hard way, the honest way. It took 15 years. 15 years of battles and politics and sacrifice. She rose through the ranks faster than anyone in history. Some called her a genius. Others called her obsessed. Both were true. When she finally became High Admiral, the first thing she did was search for Park Taiho. She found hospital records. She learned about his illness. She gathered her fleet and came to Earth. "I could have sent money," Vala said. "I could have sent doctors quietly. But that was not enough. I wanted to come myself. I wanted you to know that I remember, that I never stopped remembering. By now, the doctors had finished their initial treatment. They said Taiho would need 3 more sessions, but his lungs were already improving. He took a deep breath, the first real breath he had taken in months. No pain, no tearing sound. Just air filling his lungs like it used to. He looked at Vila with why. He asked. It was the same question she had asked him 15 years ago, lying on a mattress in his apartment. Why did you do all this? For one person? Vila smiled. It was the same smile she had when Yuna taught her to fold paper cranes. Bright and warm and full of gratitude. Because kindness saved my life, she said. And I spent 15 years becoming powerful enough to make sure kindness does not go unrewarded. She looked at both of them. This is not charity. This is justice. You gave me everything when I had nothing. Now I can finally give something back. She stood up and looked at the sky. Her fleet hung among the clouds like stars made of silver. But this is not just about you, she said. This is about something bigger. This is about humanity. What do you mean? Yuna asked. The Confederation debates whether to give Earth full membership. Many doubt that humans are ready. They point to your wars and your cruelty. But they are wrong. Vela's eyes became fierce. I know what humans can be. I have seen it. And tomorrow, I will show the whole galaxy. She turned back to Taiho. Tomorrow, I speak to your Earth Council. I want you there. Both of you. The world needs to hear our story. Taiho looked at his daughter. Yuna looked back. Then they both looked at Vela. We will be there, Taiho said. Vela smiled again. And somewhere in that smile, Yuna saw the scared alien who once hid in their closet. The one who burned soup and folded paper cranes badly. The one who cried when a stranger showed her kindness. That alien was still there. Beneath the medals and the power and the fleets. Still grateful. Still remembering. Still family. The United Earth Council building in Geneva was full. Every seat was taken. World leaders sat in the front rows. Journalists crowded the back. Cameras floated everywhere, broadcasting to every screen on the planet. Outside, millions of people watched on giant screens. In homes and offices and schools, billions more watched on their devices. The whole world had stopped to see what would happen. Park Taiho sat in the front row. He wore a simple gray suit that Vila had given him. It was the nicest thing he had ever worn. Beside him sat Yuna, her hands folded in her lap, her heart beating fast. Taiho could breathe freely now. 3 treatments had completely healed his lungs. He felt 20 years younger, but he was still nervous. He had never been in a place like this. He was a construction worker from Bizon. He did not belong among presidents and prime ministers, but Vela had asked him to be here. So here he was. The room fell silent as Vila walked to the podium. She wore her full dress uniform. Every medal, every honor. She looked like what she was, one of the most powerful military commanders in the galaxy. Leaders of Earth, Vela began. Thank you for receiving me. I come not as a diplomat or a politician. I come as a soldier with a story to tell. She pressed a button on the podium. A hologram appeared behind her. It showed a rainy night in Bizon, a dark alley. A figure lying among garbage bags. 15 years ago, I was dying. I was alone on a planet that hated my kind. Your government offered money for my capture. Your police hunted me like an animal. I had lost all hope. The hologram changed. It showed a man walking through the rain, holding a child's hand. Then I met this man, Park Taiho, a construction worker with nothing, a widower raising a daughter alone, a person your society would call ordinary. Vila's voice became stronger. He found me in that alley. He had every reason to turn away. every reason to call the police and collect the reward. Instead, he carried me home. He fed me with food he could not afford. He hid me in a room he built with his own hands. He risked his freedom and his daughter's future for a stranger he owed nothing to. The hologram showed the inside of a small apartment. A mattress in the corner. A little girl teaching an alien to fold paper cranes. I lived with them for almost a year. And in that year, I learned something. I learned that humanity is not defined by your governments or your wars. It is defined by moments like this, by small acts of impossible kindness. She looked directly at the cameras. The Galactic Confederation questions whether Earth should receive full membership. They ask if humans can be trusted. They point to your history of violence and division. Her eyes swept across the room. I have an answer for them. Yes, humans have darkness. Yes, they have caused great harm. But they also have something rare, something precious. They have people like Park Taiho, people who will give their last food to a stranger, people who will risk everything for no reward, people who see someone in pain and cannot walk away. She stepped away from the podium and walked toward Taiho. The whole world watched as this powerful alien commander stood before a simple old man in a gray suit. This man saved my life, Vela said. Not with weapons or wealth or power. With rice, with a blanket, with a small room behind a closet. That is the humanity I know. That is the humanity I believe in. She turned back to face the world leaders. I am Vela of House Tarn, High Admiral of the Ninth Fleet, commander of 200 warships. And I stand before you today because of a construction worker who chose kindness over fear. She raised her hand. Outside, visible through the great windows of the council building, her fleet shifted position. 200 ships moved as one, forming a protective ring around the planet. My fleet will remain in Earth's orbit, not as a threat, but as a promise. Any who attack this world will answer to me. Any who threaten its people will face my ships, not because of politics or treaties, but because a human showed me what kindness means. And we of House Tarn always repay our debts. The room was completely silent. No one moved. No one breathed. Then something unexpected happened. Park Taiho stood up. He was not supposed to speak. There was no plan for this. But he stood up anyway, his legs shaking, his heart pounding. Every camera turned toward him. I want to say something, he said. His voice was rough and plain. Not like a leader. Not like a speaker. Just like a man from BUSAN. Villa smiled and stepped aside. Taiho walked slowly to the podium. He looked out at the crowd of powerful people staring at him. He thought about running away. But then he thought about Yunji, about what she would do. I am not a hero, he said. I am not special. I am just a man who was in the right place at the right time. He paused, trying to find the words. That night in the rain, I did not think about the future. I did not think about rewards or punishment. I just saw someone who needed help. Someone who was scared and alone and dying. He looked at Yuna. His daughter was crying quietly. My wife taught me something before she died. She said that being human is not about where you come from or what you have. It is about what you do when someone needs you. It is about choosing kindness even when it is hard. He turned to face the cameras. I am nobody. But if I can change someone's life with a bowl of rice and a warm place to sleep, then anyone can. That is what being human means to me. Not our buildings or our technology or our power, but our kindness. Our simple, everyday kindness. He stepped away from the podium. There was silence for one long moment. Then someone started clapping. Then more people. Then the whole room was clapping, the sound rising like thunder. Outside, the crowds watching on giant screens began to cheer. In homes around the world, people wiped their eyes and held each other. Something had shifted. Something had changed. 1 year later, Earth received full membership in the Galactic Confederation. The vote was nearly unanimous. Taeho moved into a small house by the ocean. He tried to refuse it, but Vila and Yuna would not listen. Every morning, he sat on his porch and watched the ships crossing the sky. Every evening, he breathed the salt air deep into his healed lungs. Yuna became an ambassador for xenobiology, traveling to distant worlds, building bridges between species. She sent video messages every week, her face bright with wonder as she showed her father aliens and planets he could barely imagine. Vila visited when she could. Not often, because she commanded a fleet and had duties across the galaxy. But she always came for Taeho's birthday. She always brought his favorite rice wine. They sat on the porch together, two old friends watching the stars. "Do you ever regret it?" she asked him once. That night in the rain. "You could have been caught. You could have lost everything." Taeho thought about it. He thought about Yoonji, about Yuna, about a scared alien in a yellow raincoat. "No," he said finally. "I would do it again. 1,000 times." Vela smiled and raised her cup. "To kindness," she said. "To kindness," Taeho agreed. They drank together as the stars wheeled overhead. Somewhere among those stars, civilizations were watching Earth with new eyes. They had heard the story. They knew about the construction worker and the alien he saved, and maybe, just maybe, they were starting to understand what humans could be. Not because of their ships or their weapons or their technology, but because of a bowl of rice shared in the rain, because of a secret room built by tired hands, because of kindness, given without hope of return. That was humanity. That was enough.